The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Speaking podcast coming to you April 2nd, 2024. It is the post-April Fool's session here. Yeah, kind of glad I didn't do a show on April Fool's Day, honestly. That April Fool's thing is all tired. It really is tired, man. But how you guys doing? Been a little bit. We got a lot. Actually, we have a lot of shows today. We're doing this show today, of course, solo podcast here with me. And then as soon as I'm here, I got to record my WrestleMania 40 preview with my guys Duke Bennett and Rob Barnett, Rob the Genius, to come on the show. So we're gonna be dropping 2 podcasts today on the feed as well. But yeah, other than that, things are okay. I just got back from my son's, my youngest son Logan, who by the way turned 7 on Thursday. Once again, made honor roll for the 3rd time this year in 3 tries. And basically it's a 3-peat for my son Logan for honor roll. So job well done by him. Very proud of him. We did that. Went to the ceremony. Left that. My wife and I left that. Went to have breakfast together since we're not gonna have time. Tomorrow is typically Wednesdays, even though it's an anniversary. We're both working. She works night, I work day, so I'm not gonna see her much, if not at all, tomorrow. So we took some time today, go get some breakfast today, some time to with each other. And then as I said, Thursday is my son's birthday. He hasn't decided. So both my kids are, as you guys know, this is the podcast for years. You know that both my kids are the same week. My oldest son turns 11 on Monday on the 8th. So we let the kids decide what they want to do for dinner. So my youngest son is trying to decide whether they want to get pizza or something else. So we figured that out. So that's what's been going on today so far. It's been a very decent day, obviously. Tomorrow also, and this is titled 13 years this episode because tomorrow is the 13th anniversary of my wife and I's wedding. We've been together 18 years. This July will be 18 years together, 13 years married. Again, love my wife to death. Fall in love with her more and more every year. I know it sounds cliche and all this stuff, but I really do. And seeing, especially this year, which has been not challenging. It's been challenging in moments, but it also has been a defining year for both of us, but especially for her. And her dedication to healing and her dedication to, letting go of trauma from years past. I'm not going into details. If she wants to talk about it on the podcast and on the road, she can do so herself. I won't go into her business, but she has gone through a lot in her life, and she is still here to tell the tale. And I'm so proud of her. I'm very protective of her, obviously. I mean, obviously, I'm her husband, so obviously I'm going to be protective by naturally. But, because of knowing of everything she's gone through, and just being, just knowing and having exposure to a lot of things she's gone through. Even now in my mid 40s, I'm still protective of my wife. Those feelings don't still go away. At least for me anyway. And I'm very proud of the things she's done, the changes she's made in her life, especially when it comes to fitness and health. She's down 43 pounds now since last year. She's eating clean. She's inspiring me, although it's been tough for me. She's doing this without meds. She's starting to run 5Ks now. She's done 5Ks. Like she just did a 5K with my job, our jobs. We host a 5K every year at my job, and she ran the 5K shaved off 3 minutes off her time last year. It's becoming a thing now. She's doing this now. She's actually training to do a larger race later in the year. And if you had told me that she would have done this because they're doing these kind of things even 3 years ago, I would have said no way. And she'll tell you that too. Also, it's not a secret. But she's dedicated her time now to healing, to being a better wife, better mother, better person, and making decisions that's best for her, putting herself first finally, because she's someone that's put others ahead of herself. Not mentioning names. I don't have to mention names. It is what it is. And she's made the decision now to prioritize her health, her mental health. She's going to therapy. She's doing that, and it's been helpful. It's helped our marriage too. And I just try to be the best I can be with her, and just try to help her navigate those waters like a good husband should. So of the 13 years being together, this is definitely one of the most challenging, but also one of the most I would say triumphant in a lot of ways, because it's been with age comes growth, and I feel like as much as I've grown and trying to grow in this last year, I feel like her more than anybody else has grown even more, and I'm learning from her, and I'm just really proud of her when she's done. I'm really proud. I'm very, very proud to be her husband. Like I said, I remember 13 years ago, we had a wedding, a smaller wedding. Our wedding was small in the sense that we got married in private that morning, because so a little inside baseball here. Some of you guys may know this already, some of you may not. It's okay. Her dad, who passed away in 2017 rather, was disabled. And at the time, he was living in California. And we weren't able to get him down here from California to Florida to attend the wedding because of health risks. It was difficult for him to go on a plane, for example. So we made a decision to get married in private, because she didn't want. I mean, we could have anybody else walking down the aisle, which was talked about for a little bit, but it was not something she was comfortable with, because she wanted her father to be there. And at the time, I didn't understand. It's like, well, just have my dad do it, or her brother do it, or someone. And at the time, I was like, let's just do it. And she wanted her father. Her father is her best friend, and I understand that. I totally understand that. And especially in hindsight now, it made sense. So we did a private ceremony in Delray Beach, 7:00 in the morning, with our pastor, then pastor, her youth pastor, actually, growing up, his wife, who played a violin, and then a photographer. That was it. Her and I got married in private, and then we did it like another smaller ceremony during the reception. It had a big reception for 100 people, of course, and it was a good day. It was a really good day. A lot of things I could have done differently back then, though. You look back, 13 years, and how much I've grown in 13 years. A lot of things I could have done differently. But again, you don't learn until you grow. Age does that to you. But I'm really proud of what we've built in these 13 years together. We operate as a married couple pretty much from the word go. Like, I knew pretty early that she was the one. And I think she also knew that I was the one for her early as well too. I mean, we're a couple that is pretty traditional. We've been sharing money. We share our money to this day. We've been sharing our money from pretty much since like the first months of dating. It's weird. People say, "Oh, how can you do that?" Well, I'm not going to suggest anybody to do that. It's just how we operated. We always look at things as a team. We're a team. We're the Christians. We do things together. Everything we do, anything I decide on, is not without consideration of her or my children. And so we're a team. We share our income. And I know it's controversial to a lot of people, because they have their own thing, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong answers here. It's you know that every person knows the dynamic of their relationships. I just know that with her and I, this is the way it worked for us for 18 years, and it continues to work 18 years, because there's a lot of trust involved in that. So, we've had a really strong dynamic as a couple. It doesn't mean we don't have our struggles. We've had struggles even recently. We've even threatened. There were times early on. I remember one of the most difficult times of our marriage was the first year I became a father. It was a lot of pressure because she decided to be a stay-at-home mom. I was the only income at the time. I changed roles in my job at that point. So I was the only income. I was a new father. I was still trying at the time to crack into this business because I was actually doing an ESPN radio internship at the time, and I stopped doing it because I needed to focus. I wanted to focus on my family and my job. And there's a lot of pressure I was having with people around me and stuff about how to do this and that. And I don't think at the time. Also, I look back, 11 years later, I didn't have the self-confidence in myself to make decisions for myself. So I always look for advice from people. Like I said, a lot of things could change from years back. But again, you don't learn. Those are all learning curves, and we made through that. I remember a time we almost separated, and that was the first time we ever spent, I think, multiple nights away from each other. She moved in with her mom for a couple nights, and I stayed home with the baby, and it sucked. I like, yeah, we're fighting with this and that, but I don't want to be without you. So that was one of the things where most moments there, okay, this is let's make this work. And we've had our issues through the years, but I couldn't imagine going through life without anyone else. I really can't. I've always said that this is different for me. If this doesn't work, then I don't know if I can invest enough time in someone else like this again. Because of the fact that I know we both have invested our hearts, blood, sweat, and tears into this marriage, into this relationship, into this team we have, and it's look, it's not for everybody. I get that, but this works for us, and how we've done it for years is continue to work for us. It's a very high success rate with how we operate as a couple. So to Lauren, I love you. I'm proud of you. You are my person. You are the greatest person I've ever known, and continue to be. And yeah, I hope you take these words and take that into your heart. So happy anniversary to my wife, which is actually tomorrow, not today, but tomorrow. So I just want to acknowledge it now since I won't have a podcast being done tomorrow. So anyway, so I was thinking about this also a couple days ago. Audio versus video podcast, and pertaining to me more than anything else. So you guys know, in the last couple months, I've been doing these solo shows with the video concept, like right now, for example. And I actually almost considered doing this episode audio, because there's something to be said for me anyway, where if I'm doing a podcast with a guest or a round table, video makes more sense, obviously, because you can see the person, have a conversation, that kind of thing. But in the last couple months doing this show with the video concept, which I don't not enjoy, obviously, I do enjoy it. But there are times where I feel like I get distracted by just looking at this camera here, for example. Get distracted by that. And I feel like I don't get everything when I get out. I feel like I don't speak as fluently. Other podcasts I've done, in the past without the video concept, solo episodes, for example. And I feel like sometimes some of those shows, I feel a lot more. I'm getting more information out without having me distracted by the video. I'm distracted by other things on the screen here, for example. Sometimes when I did my audio only podcast, there are times I'll be sitting here in the studio with this mic in my hand, laying back on these two chairs, laying back almost like I'm in a bed, and just talking. Whereas if I'm on video, I can't do that. I got to be a little more professional, sitting up in the studio with a microphone, boom stand here, the whole nine. So I did consider actually at one point going back to maybe making these solo shows back to the audio only concept and only do the videos for when I have guests or whatever maybe. But it's you know what? Well, I'll do it. I'll do it when need be. If it's a day where I don't want to record a solo episode on video, I just won't do it. I just won't do it. I'll do according to how I feel that day. Now, I will say, into the production, because you guys know, you follow me on my YouTube page, of course, youtube.com/Earnest Christian. I like to share clips from of these shows on the page separately. it is a lot easier to grab those clips from the video side and put it up as opposed to the audio side. I know there's an app. There's an app called Headliner. I know I use in the past. I still use it when I did the audio only shows. You can grab clips also from those shows too and put up to the on YouTube, which is fine. The problem is though they limit it to like 10 minutes, and sometimes clips in the show go beyond that. You've seen some clips I put up this weekend alone on the show, 18-minute clips, 30-minute clips, because those segments warranted that that time. So, that's my bag, obviously, but I'm gonna decide that according to how I feel that day. If I decide I don't, that episode, you know what, I'm fine doing a video episode. I'll just do audio only. I'll do that. If I'm on the road, if I'm on the road, for example, and I decide I want to do an episode, but I don't want to be on video, then hey, I'll just do the audio only option. But yeah, I've been going through the whole audio video thing because I know that a lot of it now too. A lot of podcasts that have started out as a video only concept, audio only concept rather. This one, for example, has now shifted the ways into doing more videos because that people want to see and connect, not just listen to you. And I'm an old radio guy too, also. So I do like there's certain I will say with audio, there's a certain like border or a certain comfort of when you're doing a show with audio only. People can't see you, so you feel a little safer in some ways. Whereas when you're doing a video show like this, now you're talking and everyone can see you on top of that now, so you feel you're more exposed. So it's according to how you feel mentally about it. I mean, like I said, I don't not enjoy doing video, but sometimes some shows like I missed something here, and I probably would have been more focused if I was not focused on the cameras and all this stuff. And it's what it is. So obviously we'll figure it out, when we go episode by episode. So, but what I've been doing though, mentioning YouTube, and I think I mentioned this on the podcast a couple episodes back. I have massively modified my daily media consumption. You guys know I like to listen to a lot of media stuff daily, like with sports or politics. And I would I create playlists on my YouTube page and private of course, to where I could watch my stuff throughout the day. I have subscriptions, and then I'll just save a clip here of a first take clip here, or a first things first, or a political show I watch, or a Colin Cowherd clip here, or Rich Eisen. And ever since my little health scare in late January, I've kind of backed off on that. I still do it, but I'm a little more selective with it. But because I think it was a little overload also too. I think that, I'm not saying it added to the reason why I had my little scare, but it didn't help. And I think sometimes I put too much priority into doing that and listening to every clip I got. Cause I feel like I have this FOMO when it comes to like daily consumption, because a lot of times I listen to those clips and those shows and whatnot. A lot of those things, those clips end up being inspiration or possible topic ideas for this show. So I don't want to miss out on things I may, but what I realized though is that you don't have to be on top, like tooth and nail, like I was back in, before January, late January, and had my little scare. So I backed up a little bit, and honestly, I felt better about it. I go back and I see, I'll watch, I'll look at clips and see if there's any clips that are interesting, but I don't try to lock in every single little one, because it was getting a little stressful a little while. But modifying was good. Again, it goes back to the whole like less is more, kind of almost also a backwards minimalism thing too. Also, where you don't have to have every single thing. Take everything in moderation, and I think it applies to that as well too. So modifying my media consumption has been much better. And not only that, the ones I have really been investing is long form anyway. A Rogan episode here, a Patrick Bet David episode here. By the way, I watched an episode with him and Stephen A. Smith last week. It was actually really, really good. Had really good discussion about politics and Trump and all that stuff. So I've been investing more time into longer form consumption, and honestly, getting back to audiobooks, and a lot of things books I bought through the years I have not finished yet. I need to just clear those off, as opposed to the daily media stuff. That's gonna, even when you clear them off that day, there's more stuff coming the next day, and then the next day, and the next day, and it gets too much. It's a repetition, and it takes away from me consumption of content that I do here, and in particular other stuff that I want to invest into. So modifying was a good idea, and I'm very happy I did that. All right. I want to address something here too on the show. Last week, I don't know if you guys heard the episode I did with my good friend NBA podcaster Sir Danny Blanco. Great episode. It was the last episode we did on the show last Thursday. And we talked NBA, obviously. That's what he does. He's an NBA podcaster. But we actually also went a little bit off the beaten path a little bit with some of the topics. We went into the Diddy conversation, of course. All the allegations around Diddy and all that stuff. Obviously check out the episode. I put a clip also on the YouTube page as well too. But we also did a segment on Candace Owens. And Candace Owens has been going through a lot recently. If you guys know who she is, I'll remind you guys. She's a conservative commentator. She's black. She's actually really beautiful, to be honest with you. But I'm not a fan of hers in her content. It's not because she's conservative, for the record. I keep saying that. It's not because she's conservative. It's because of some of the things she said. I find some of her rhetoric has been dangerous. And we had a discussion about this because she's been going through a lot in a sense where she's kind of defied her side of the aisle in some ways, where she's been defiant in her stance when it comes to the war in Israel and Gaza. And obviously most right-wing people are pro-Israel, specifically the people that recently employed her, the Daily Wire, which is owned by Ben Shapiro, who's also Jewish and very much pro-Israel. And they've had public issues actually about the issue, about the entire saga at large. And Candace Owens has been defiantly pro, I can't even say pro Gaza, but she has called out Israel for their alleged genocide being done in the region. And it's a talking point that most liberals or left-leaning people will actually agree with her on. So people are starting to think that, maybe Candace Owens is coming around, maybe she's starting to become more left-leaning, this and that, maybe just broaden her approach, which, whatever, I don't care. I care enough to talk about it, but I don't think it's okay to broaden your approach on anything, because I think you should be able to think for yourself. And also, if it shouldn't be where if you're a left-leaning guy, then all these talking points are yours, and if you're a right-leaning guy, I hate that shit. I hate that stuff. I hate the idea that people call conservatives racist, but also call liberals mental disorder, which is complete shit in my opinion. I think both sides have really bad talking points and bad characters and bad actors. I was actually at work this weekend, and one of my customers, who's a really, really good person, I love her to death, but she's also a very right-leaning person. And she was calling me a liberal because I told her that I couldn't vote for Trump. I'm like, and I laughed at her because, like, I told her, like, if you knew my wife, she'll laugh in your face. She goes, why? Because I am very much not as close to liberal as you realize. And because my wife and she's very liberal, and she'll tell you that. She's like, oh, liberal. She's teasing me called liberal. She's really nice. I said it didn't bother me, but I hate this idea that if I don't think one way, that this is not going to work. Then this is bad. This and that. And I hate that. I don't fall into that kind of nonsense. I just don't. But anyway, my point of Candace Owens is this. We made some comments. Me and Danny made some comments on the podcast. I didn't put a clip of that segment, and this is where this segment got a lot of blowback from people. A lot of pro Candace Owens people on there reacted, and most of them did not like what we had to say. Basically, I don't think they listened to the entire segment, because I was not being critical of her. I was being critical enough to where I kept my stance to what it was. It's pretty simple. No one said anything about her, call her a bad person, this and that. We just said we've been critical of the things she said in the past, while also acknowledging that us black people are not a monolith. We don't think one way. We have people who have blacks who are left-leaning, right-leaning, middle, progressive, conservative. They think differently. We all think differently. But people assume that, if you're a black person, that you should be liberal, Democrat, listen to hip-hop and R&B. No, that's ridiculous. That's actually quite fucking ignorant, in my opinion. So I don't think people people who commented on that thread on the clip on the YouTube page, which it blew up, quite got it. And I don't think they listened to the entire segment. Like, we didn't say we disagree with everything she says. We disagree with a lot she said, but we also agree with some of her stance on the issue in Gaza, for example. And I think what the core of the argument was in that segment, I don't think they're listening. And that's the problem too. Also, it makes me wonder if they actually were bots or actually real people. But again, I would never shut down conversation, even with the criticism. I would never shut down conversation because, again, there's an importance to listening to both sides. I mean, and that's one of the things we were saying on that segment too. Also, me and Denny, is that as long as we're having productive conversations, especially, and I will, and on this platform, that's something we will be doing and continue to be doing, in the years to come, as long as I do this podcast. That's all that matters to me, is productive conversation. Even people I disagree with. I'm not gonna flag their comments. I'm not gonna delete their comments. Like, no, I'm not. Because people ask me that, which no, I'm not gonna do that. Because I'm not trying to look for people to agree with me on everything I say. This is my opinion about a situation. You can react to it how you feel, and as long as you're not sending me hateful comments, because I wasn't hateful to the person on here about her, for example. As long as you're being you disagree, but you also disagree and let it lie, we're good. Nothing wrong with that. So there's importance to listen to both sides and having dialogue, because we're all not monoliths, man. We all have ideas, and ideas that should always be brought to the forefront. I still look at people, with the best of intentions. I may distrust people as I get older because people, that's just my nature. But I also think most people come to any conversation with the good intention, and I'll leave it at that. So I enjoy the dialogue still with Denny, and I don't regret putting that out there. And I actually respect the candor that came back with that. And look, everything they were saying there, I mostly disagree with. But again, it's okay. It's quite. We're allowed to disagree. It's okay. It's not bad. We still pay our taxes. We're still gonna go, support our families and that, and also doing that and doing the right things and not hurting people, and just doing the right thing and living your best life. I'm good with that, man. I'm always good with that. So there's that. But I am excited though, because later this month, we're going to be taking a little mini vacation, my wife and the kids, first time in quite a while. We've been grinding. My wife and I have been grinding in terms of just work, and we don't ever really go away, as a family, even for like mini vacations. We just don't have the time and the money. It's expensive to do all these kind of things, and it requires taking off work and all this stuff. But we're gonna be going away, and it's not really a big deal because it's really in Florida. But I'm gonna be out of work for 4 days. When we going to Disney, we're gonna be going to Disney World. For me, first time in about 5-6 years. My wife, she was there last month. She goes there all the time. She just passes. And I'm pretty excited about the trip. Mainly because I'm gonna also be meeting some friends I've not met in person for the first time. You guys know who they are in this podcast. We're gonna be meeting Kyle Nash, of course, for the first time after 11, 12 years of knowing each other. Never met him in person. Not that we had not attempted to do it, but if I gonna meet for the first time, Big Jim, of course, on the show. Of course, on the show quite often. Of course, CEO of Huddle Up Inc. And we go obviously on Huddle Up Podcast. We do that every football season, every Tuesday. He's coming down here with his wife, and around that same weekend, and we're going to be meeting him for the first time as well too. Other co-host of that show too also comes on this podcast from time to time. Matthew Elizen. He'll be coming down as well too with his wife and daughter for a week, and hopefully get to meet him finally that weekend as well too. Of course, Mikey B, who was on the show last week, is the baseball preview last week. He'll be coming up as well too to hang out with us as well. So we're gonna have a good time. So we have the Disney trip, of course, for the kids. And then meet some old friends for the first time and have a great time with that. And that's honestly right now, to be frank, that's where my life is right now at this point. I'm at a point in my life now where I'm pretty happy with what I have. I have a good job, great wife, really great kids, decent home, cars that are paid off, make decent money. I was telling my wife, I'm content with life these days. And honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think people always are so used to wanting to chase something and want to find their purpose in life. And my purpose, I feel like my purpose is just to, well, do what I'm doing now. Let's have a good life and let's be healthy and, raise good kids and, make sure you're providing for your kids and go on vacation once in a blue moon and go do a Disney trip here and have fun and fellowship with friends and family and invest time in that. I don't feel like I feel like we're always chasing something, better jobs or better positions and better this and more money. And I mean, I'm not saying that you should never better your situation. Far from that. But even when you get to where you want to go, are you still satisfied? I feel like I feel like I feel like right now in this moment, as I'm turning 44 next month, I'm good where I'm at. I'm actually good where I'm at. I'm actually satisfied. I'm content. And the word content is always looked at as a bad thing. Like, oh, you're just comfortable now. Being comfortable is not good. Why? Why is it not good? For whose expectations are we trying to follow here? Because once we die, then what? It's all about enjoying the moment. You don't know when your last day on earth is going to be. God willing, my last day on earth is going to come a very long time. It'd be great. Once my kids get older, have grandkids and as well too. And you don't know, so I try to live in the moment. And it's hard for me too because I'm someone who's very very conservative when it comes to how I spend money, how I look at life, how I look at the broader things. I'm always looking at protection, make sure we save, make sure we have security and insurance and all that stuff. So that mindset for me for many years has actually held me back in terms of, and I'm slowly breaking out of that a little bit now, trying to balance the scales. And I told my wife, listen, I want to start traveling. And I know the kids are still pretty young. I mean, like they're gonna be 11 and 7 this week, but I start traveling again. And nothing even big. I don't have to necessarily leave the country either. Like this stuff in the United States alone, I have never been to. States I've never been to, cities I've never been to. That I'm dying to visit. I'm dying to go to. There are ballparks I want to go to, like baseball. I want to go to college football games. I want to go to all these things I want to experience now. And I feel like that's one of my regrets of not, in my 20s and early 30s where I became a father. I didn't do all those things before I had children. And now, because my focus has been being a father, that I somewhat, I regret not taking advantage of the time we did have, because Laura and I, we had a good 7 years before we had our first child. We had a good 7 years of being able to do all experience these things. And we did some things, but we didn't do enough, I thought. We put our money and our efforts into other things that didn't really matter in the end. And I wish we had not done that. I wish instead of us getting for example, one of the worst things we ever did. I look back in hindsight, and granted, it was a beautiful apartment, but we had rented out for about 2 years a gorgeous 3-bedroom apartment in Delray Beach. It's a 2011, I think it was 2010, and it was not a great investment for us at the time because even though we could afford it, that extra money we could have thrown into a studio, maybe 1-bedroom apartment because this is her and I. We could put that money into traveling, into like going to New York and going to this place and this and that and other things, other experiences. And now I regret that. And now I have the itch now to revert back to that mindset of being able to experience things. And, but again, this is a part of the whole growth and this is how you learn. There's all learning curves. I find myself now, as I get older, want to downsize as opposed to upscaling our lifestyle. I'm trying to get our kids to embrace more experiences as opposed to just like, oh, I want this toy for the holidays and this and that. And look, I also want them to still remain kids and experience those things. But at the same time, I do want them to start embracing experiences. They're asking this week what they get for the birthdays, for example, and I told them, well, no offense though, you guys just celebrated your birthday last week at Lion Country Safari, okay, which cost us a couple $100. Number one, to do the little party with what we did, and then we're going to Disney World later in the month to celebrate your birthdays again. So technically, those are your birthday gifts there. You don't need extra stuff. Like, we'll obviously go to dinner on Thursday for Logan's birthday and then Monday for Eli's birthday. But do you actually need more things at that point? Embrace the experiences as opposed to just the things, the material things. And that's the hard part, trying to interpret that to the kids, because kids are kids, and you want to be kids, but you also want to balance it too, also to where, okay, look, enjoy this too. Also, this is actually, the experience is actually more important than just the toy. The toy goes away. Toy breaks at some point. It goes away. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the little mini vacation. And we were talking about, my wife has annual passes to Disney. I haven't had annual passes in a couple of years, but I think we're considering getting annual passes for the entire family now. Because I have the itch to go back. I have been to Disney in about 5 or 6 years. The kids have not gone around the same time. Logan, my youngest son, when he last went, he was literally a year old. So he had no idea about Disney World whatsoever. So I know he's gonna enjoy it. Eli wants to go too, so we may actually, instead of buying a 4-day pass that'll last in September, we just may just pony up and just buy the entire annual passes and call it a day. So, and that way you have no restrictions in terms of when to go and all that stuff outside the blackout dates they have on there. So, all right, 2 more things to get out of here. Sports side here, March Madness. We're done the Final Four. Watched a little bit of the men's Sweet 16 this weekend. Watched a little bit of it. I had attended a baby shower that my wife hosted on Sunday. So they had on the game, not on the Purdue game on, for example, at Purdue Duke game, and they had on was Purdue Duke? No, NC State. No, it was Purdue and who the hell they played? They beat Tennessee, Purdue and Tennessee, and then Duke, NC State. So I watched a little bit of those games this weekend. Again, like I said, I haven't been really engaged in any of the college basketball tournaments, even the women's side. I know everybody was last time talking about Caitlin Clark and Iowa taken down following the defending champions, LSU. I heard Angel Reese got hurt. Did she even play the game last night? I don't remember playing the game last night. Doesn't matter. I didn't watch. She's been talking of the year. Like I said, I've been disengaged. And then March Madness, Final Four starts on Saturday. But guess what's also on Saturday for me? WrestleMania. And I'm going to watch WrestleMania at college basketball. Because why not? I mean, I have the game on probably on the side somewhere, but I'm hosting some friends here for WrestleMania, so probably not going to have that game locked in at all. But yeah, I haven't watched any of the March Madness whatsoever, and it's what it is. It was. But I think UConn wins the whole thing, though. UConn is actually a big favorite for the first game, and I think they'll cover. All right, last thing before I get out of here, and this is a little bit sombering sports side here. Baseball's on the way. The Mets stink. They lost again last night. I think they're 0-4, 0-5 right now, as this recording. And I already said, I told y'all for years, I love this team. It's my favorite baseball team in the world. It's the first team I rooted for as a child. But I know how I feel. If this team ain't good by the time we get to June, July, I check out. And yep, they're 0-4. And the only good thing about them being 0-4 is that other than Atlanta being 3-1, the rest of the division stinks this year. Philadelphia's 1-3, Washington 1-3, the Mets 0-4, and the Marlins 0-5. So at the very least, the rest of the NL East is actually pretty bad right now in the short term. Like I said, this team's I don't know. This team's just depressing. Everybody has that one sports team they root for, and whatever sport it is. This depresses them. Some have multiple. I have one. The Giants are kind of that way now, but they've won Super Bowls in the last 15, 20 years that, I can say, well, I've experienced that. The Heat have been really, really good for a long time now. The Mets are just the Mets are the bane to my sports existence. The bane, and it just is what it is. This team just stinks. But like I said, the rest of the NL East is pretty bad too. So maybe that's just early season blues. We'll see what happens there. I don't know. Just enough talk about the Mets. I'm done with that, and I'm done with the show too. Also, so again, dated April 2nd, 2024. Again, once again, happy birthday to my kids this week. And also, happy anniversary to my beautiful wife, Lauren. 13 years tomorrow. I love you very much. On Twitter, @X at EJ Christian 7. Earnestly podcast across any podcast catchers. Guys, if you also love wrestling retro talk, check out my wrestling retro podcast. We're recording an episode tonight. Finally, we took a week off last week due to scheduling conflicts. We're doing an episode tonight and do another WrestleMania 10 tribute show because this is the 30th anniversary of WrestleMania 10. So check out that episode. We'll be dropping tonight/tomorrow. Other than that, we'll talk to you guys soon. Look out for the WrestleMania preview. Also, if you're into wrestling, like I said, preview on this page as well too with my friends Duke and Rob. That's coming up. I'm actually recording that in about 20 minutes. As I got for this for now. Until then, we will talk soon. Later.
Thank you.